Alright, so I want to preface this by saying I have 2,000 hours in Hunt Showdown at this point. So I love the game regardless of its clear and obvious flaws. An FPS game based on clicking weapons with 100% accuracy makes it the perfect game for headshotting people in. Also, the slower paced, survivalist nature of the game makes every kill feel rewarding. Not only that, but customizations of the loadouts and the creative playstyles you can implement in the game makes it feel like there's a million different ways to play the game and it has damn near infinite replayability. But I'm not here today to talk about what makes the game great. I can do that in another video possibly. I want to talk about my issues with the game, or one big issue I have with it. Something that I think makes the game lose its touch and is more so the reason Hunt Showdown doesn't feel like Hunt Showdown much anymore. So without further ado, I'll just get right into it. Hunt Showdown's biggest issue, without a doubt for me, has to be the economy. Hunt Showdown doesn't feel like an extraction shooter, it feels like team deathmatch on massive maps with one life. Nobody cares about the bounty. People just want to fight. Why does the game feel like that? I think the true Hunt Showdown experience should be the games where you take an expensive ass loadout or weapons like the Nitro into a match and try not to die with it because you just spent an arm and a foot on it. I feel like that's what Hunt Showdown should be. It gives you the feeling of trying not to die while still going in and trying to complete the objective or get kills or just get some loot. That's the extraction feeling that Hunt Showdown is missing. The reason that is because the objective, the bounty, isn't important. Making money in Hunt Showdown is so absurdly easy at the moment. Looting people gives hella bread. The big cash registers give hella bread. If you mess around and lose all your money, you can simply just hit the prestige button and voila, 8 to 10,000 cash on the spot. Buy the Nitro 7 games in a row or more immediately after hitting the prestige button. Getting XP and bloodline rank takes little time at all, so you can just get right back to the prestige point. And there's all the bloodline rank upgrades along the way that you get just from leveling up. It's like you just get so much cash from that alone, and by the time you're prestige 100, level 100, you probably aren't going to be going broke anymore anyways because you're just so knowledgeable and good at the game that you're just always extracting with bounty, you know what I mean? So you're hardly ever in a spot where you don't have the money to afford your loadout. So what's the point of making money by collecting the bounty? There is none. So you'd rather get in gunfights on the other side of the map while the bounty is being banished right next to the extract. This is so common, it's not even funny. People do not care about the bounty, and you can't blame them because the game doesn't actually put no emphasis on you needing the bounty. This is Hunt Showdown's number one issue in my eyes. This is the number one problem with the game. The point of an extraction shooter but should be for you to go in, complete your objective, loot up, and bounce while hopefully dropping some people along the way. And with how Hunt Showdown works, dropping people along the way is a requirement, which is what makes the game unique and special and entertaining. But you should still feel the need to be extracting with the bounty so that you can upgrade your kit. But you don't need upgrades. You already have infinite cash through the prestige, the bloodline ranks, the big cash registers you extract while hitting a couple of them. You got 5,000 hunt dollars. So who cares? That's the problem. That's my problem with the game, but there's more to it. This problem is also emphasized by another problem. But people aren't about to agree with me on this one, so let's just get right into it. Okay, so like I said, this might just be a hot take, and I'm fine with disagreements, but I gotta throw this one in there. Weapon balance. I know what you're thinking. You think I'm about to complain about broken weapons like the Mosin and the Dolch. Dead wrong. Those guns are fine. They cost a hand and an eyeball to afford. They should be strong. Imagine Counter Strike making the op $4,750 to afford. That's fine. That weapon is one tap to the body, where other weapons in that game you have to be more precise and skillful with. Now imagine if they were to add a Barrett 50 cal that was semi-auto to an extent, only to make it have the same damage but only cost $500. You see where I'm going with this? What's the point of needing money when you can buy strong ass suitable weapons in the game for a couple hunt dollars? The cheaper weapons come with a lot of benefits. Put high velocity on the infantry, you pretty much got a most indulgent one right there with levering. And then there's the faster fire rate too. And okay, yeah, I'm kind of stretching the truth because there's certain stats that make the infantry weaker than the most indulged, but to completely rule that weapon out and say it can't compete, nonsense. These cheap weapons are damn near just as powerful in the right situations. You know the number one weapon that Mosin sweats complain about? The fucking hunting bow. It's pretty much like a op with no movement speed loss at mid range, and the crossbow with steel bolts, get me out of there. I don't even want to play against that. Don't take it out of the game, or well, you can take the steel bolts out of the game if you ask me, but I still want the crossbow in the game. But I'm just making the compare. I'm just saying like the cash, the price for that shit, for it to be a moving op, $50 hunt. And don't get me started on the more expensive weapons like the Automat. That weapon is trash. Come on, bro. What are we talking about? It's clearly strong, but the shit is just so hard to use. Give me some dualies or a ranger with levering over that any day of the week. Hell, I'll take a rival with slugs or the crossbow with steel bolt over the nitro in most situations. So, as you can see, these expensive weapons are getting the shaft, and these cheap weapons are strong. Or you can't, I guess you can't say these expensive weapons are getting the shaft. They're still good, but it's like, bro, I'd rather these cheap weapons. So you want to know my solution to these problems? Y'all don't want to hear them if I'm being honest, but I'm gonna go ahead and say them anyways. These cheaper weapons should be a bit more expensive, or they should be nerfed. One or the other. Me personally, I double the price of most of the primaries in the game, aside from the long ammo because they're already expensive. I'd buff the nitro, give it like double the drop range. The automat, I don't know what I'd do with that. Maybe lower the recoil a bit, clearly, and then up the price. I don't even know. But fuck that weapon, anyways. You want cheap weapons and loadouts to hunt with? Use a damn revolver, my boy. But yeah, I don't expect most people to agree with me on that, especially since half of y'all are whiny, and if you couldn't get your loadout, you'd uninstall or something. But hey, it is what it is. But that's what would make it more, you know, rewarding to use. But whatever, y'all get the point. Anyways, that's going to do it for what I think the biggest problem in Hunt Showdown is. I have tons of other stuff to complain about the game, but just remember, this is coming from a 6-star with 2,000 hours in the game and damn near 2 KD. So I'm not just some pleb giving you bad opinions, bad and uneducated opinions, and I'm also not just a hater. I love the game. So this is just what I think, and I'm open for discussion, but that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching and peace.